Hello, welcome to the Cables, Lace, and Tails podcast. My name is Sue, and I am a maker from northwestern Wisconsin. How's it going? I hope everyone is doing fine on this early August day. Today, I am going to talk about finished objects. I have some sewing finished objects and one knitted finished objects that I am so happy about. And only one whip and some thrift store finds. So I finished the Musselburgh hat this morning, August 4th. It's a Tuesday. Look how long it is. It's about 22, a little bit more than 22 inches long. The last time we spoke, I was right here. So I'm going to hold it up. I was about that far along, and I just went to just over 19 inches, and then I have these pink pins here. So this pink pin corresponds to the new pink pin, and that would be the beginning of round. And now that I've showed you that, I can take my pins off. I used Knit Picks palette. And I used the color Briar Twist. I think it is discontinued, but they have a lot of variety on their website. I am not an affiliated member. I am not sponsored. I just like their prices and their products. So last week, after I got off the podcast, I thought, you know, I should really just concentrate on getting this done. So I only worked on 2 knitting projects, and I worked on a bunch of sewing projects. The one knitting project that is a whip, I'm not even going to show you because it's dishcloths. And presently I have made 6. I need 70, so I need 64 more, and it's going to be redundant if I keep talking about it. So all the ends are in. It is one big tube. The thing I like about using the one colorway is that it doesn't matter how it's knitted up. You can do stripes. You can, how should I say it? Not knitted up, folded. So you take one end, if you're not familiar, you take one end of your tube and you put it into the other end, and you know, futz around with it a little bit. I'm not going to put it on because I have my hair in a bun, but I have tried it on. The fit is good for me. I did 120 stitches, whatever that means in the, just FYI, Amazon just went by and my dog will bark. So I did 120 stitches for the main circumference. I used double pointed needles, I believe US size 4. I used a double strand of fingering weight. It fits nicely. Now, I wish I had made it a tad longer because my idea was to have a really large brim, like that, but that would not cover my ears. So it's going to be more of a brim like this for this one. Yes, I said for this one. She's shaking the camera and everything. You did it. You got him. Good job. All right. You did a good job. They're next, Nellie. They're next door. They're next door. Shh, Nellie. All right. I'm gonna take a sip of water. She's a good guard dog. Anyway, you have I did double pointed needles, so I didn't need markers. So at the end of each double pointed needles, I either increased for the increased side or decreased for the decreased side. And so you have this nice square decrease. My daughter said it looks pointy on top. I said, well, I haven't blocked it yet. I will see how it fits after blocking, but this is so woolly. I cannot wait to wear this out on the playground. It looks really cute. Was I already looking at my yarn stash on how I could make another one? Yes, I was. It was a nice, easy, quick, fun knit. Some people wear them slouchy. I'm not a slouchy person. I like things close to my head and then I feel warm and secure. So I am very happy to have this done. I got the pattern off of Ravelry. Ysolda Teague, I believe her last name is. I will have all the information as I usually do. But it was a really easy pattern to follow. You can use any type of yarn and then go from that gauge. I really liked using the 2 strands of fingering. I did find sometimes I would not always catch both strands and I would have to ladder back and fix, but it was relatively easy, even with this marl yarn, which is so pretty and so pixelated. Anyway, that is one finished object. The next finished object I'm going to talk about is sitting in the background here. This is a bowl cover. I sewed up all the edges and then, went like this, and you can't even tell where I sewed up. I mean, you can probably find where you sewed up, but you can't really even tell. This is for a large bowl. I made large, medium, and also jar covers. So I sewed up all of those last week. I was very happy to get that project done. I also, so 3 years ago, this is just like my project bag, but different. 3 years ago, I started these panels. These were leftover pieces from my daughter's crib sheets when she was little. She didn't sleep in her bed. And I took the crib sheets, cut them up into face masks, and made a bunch of face masks. And then everything changed, and I had a lot of these pieces left. So then I started putting these pieces together, and then I thought, well, I will embroider. She picked out the hedgehog, and I really like that mushroom. I don't know if I picked that one out or if she did. And then when she was a baby, I always called her my bunny foo-foo. So I put a little bunny, and there's some more hedgehogs with the mushrooms. That's a hedgehog. Wait. Whoop. That's a hedgehog. That's a bunny. And, there's another bunny. I'll hold it up closer. So last time I showed you, I had quilted the front with a piece of polyester batting that I got on clearance from Walmart. It's not real thick, but I also squished it down just a tad with my iron on purpose. So I asked my daughter, how did you want it? I thought she wanted a drawstring bag. Turns out she did not. She just wanted a big kind of bucket bag. So I let her pick out the lining fabric, and this is the same muslin that I used for my apron, and I had some left over, and she really liked this. I gave her some choices. This is what she chose. So I took that and I sewed the 2 pieces together. I'm not saying I did this correctly. I'm sure there are better ways to do this, but this is what I did. I sandwiched them together, went around, pulled it around so they were completely enclosed. Was that the best idea? Maybe, maybe not. It means that it's completely finished on the inside, so there's no raw edges. Was it hard for my machine? Yes, it was. Did it give me an opportunity to learn how to change my needle again? Yes, it did. So I used a thick, a strong needle that you use for denim and canvas and stuff like that, because I was going through so many layers. So I put the 2 pieces together, sewed them up, but before I sewed everything together, I created 2 straps out of the same muslin. How did I do it? I had an 8-inch piece of fabric. I cut it in half so it was 4 inches. And then I folded it, I pressed it flat in half, folded those 2 pieces together and folded them again, and then I just did a stitch on either end They turned out really nice. I don't know how thick they are. They're just over an inch. Nice, strong, thick. And then I made a mistake on this side. I was trying to remember how to do it, but I did it wrong the first time. And so then I unpicked the stitches right here, even though I went over it like a million times. And then I remembered from watching a video that when you have it in a sandwich situation, you put the strap in the middle with the end sticking out. So then when you pull it all out, it's in like this one. So it's nice and in. And then I just went over this area multiple times to make sure it was securely attached. When I was all done, I realized that this here, I couldn't get all the way up to the top because of this bulk here. And so I flattened it out and I went over it a couple times. I did a round of stitching like this, and I went over this area, and then it still wasn't holding completely. So then I took needle and thread and sewed it right here. So at least it's tacked together and it's holding itself. She really likes it. She enjoys this bag. She wanted this bag for a really long time. Does it pick up a lot of hair? It sure does. But it's super cute. And it's very soft. It's 100% cotton, except for the batting. And yeah, now she'll always have something to use. Right now she's displaying it in her room. Makes me happy. I'm glad that I was able to finally finish this project. I didn't trim any of the corners and they're very bulky right here. But, you know, I will learn more as I do more things. So the next thing I'm going to show you that I worked on, I got this pattern from, I believe it's called the YouTube channel, Little Hill Craft Company. I'm going to put the picture, or if I can take a screenshot of the actual video, I will do that. I made up one of her, I'm sure this is somewhere else. I'm sure this is not a new thing, but she did a tutorial on how to do it. And it worked like gangbusters. So this is a little rolled up case. I made it for my daughter. This is all of the things I have discussed today, making wise, is all from my stash. So the ribbon is from my stash. The fabric, I got this a long, long time ago. I'm gonna open it up. I don't wanna lose any of her stuff. Right now she has makeup brushes and whatnot in it. There are pockets over here as well, but she just doesn't have anything in those. And I had a bigger because I thought she could use something for there, but at this present moment, no. So essentially, I just followed the tutorial and you make another sandwich. I'm just gonna say, I love making sandwich type things. She had the first one I watched was like a toy holder, like for Matchbox cars. And then she did a first aid one, which has double pockets. And now the neighborhood dog named Penny just walked by and my dog is barking. But you can make this into anything, like paintbrushes or colored pencils or calligraphy pens or makeup brushes or knitting needles or anything that you want to hold. You can use it for little toys that you want to bring with your kid. Put this in your purse or your diaper bag and voila, tie it up. It's all good. I have something similar to this, and I got it like I got it in the year 2000. And it was made out of felt, and it had silverware in it. So you could like have this for like a picnic and have some silverware or whatnot. You could have it any different size. You could have them really big. This is a pretty average size. This was about 17 inches long and 10 inches high. not including seam allowances. So, so cute. She's really happy about this one too. So that is all the things I have made. I did do a lot of cutting and batch projects. I worked on some dishcloths. I got some done. I'm not going to show you those because it's the same old, same old. I do have a little bit of yarn left from my Musselburgh hat, but it's probably about less than a skein, less than 50-gram ball. So I don't know what I'll do with that. If I will just keep it just in case, because I have a sweater made out of that too. So a couple weeks ago, my daughter and I went to Menominee, Wisconsin, and we were getting some back to school clothes from Marshall's. And I said, I want to stop at this thrift store down the way, and I got some really nice things. I am not taking this stuff out of the package. I'm just going to show you because it's still in quarantine because of this big thing of yarn. I don't know what the yarn makeup is. I haven't done a burn test, and it's been sitting in my car, and you know, my car gets really hot, and you know, it's the best place to kill anything. So, I don't know if you can see. Okay. In here, there is cotton floss, and then these, right, these kind of flat pieces are silk. That is silk embroidery. There is also some overlocking thread. I don't know if I'll use it for that, but this whole bag cost me $4. I was like, score. But the biggest score I had at that thrift store was this bag. This bag I will show you because it's all tools. This bag I spent $6 on, and I said to my daughter, she's like, it's only $6. And I said, really? And I turned it over, and sure enough, there is a pair of Addy Rocket Turbo size 9. They were retailed for $17 at the Thread Lab, which is a store in Menominee. I looked at them. I think they're pretty good. There might be a little chip in it or a nick. I will have to double look at it later. But that alone made me buy the rest of this bag. And since it is such a good find, I couldn't believe the find that I had. There's things that I've been wanting, but I just didn't know, you know, like, would I really even use it? Should I even get it? Is it even necessary? Now, I feel like I'm just like going in here forever. I have to be a little careful because there are some pointy objects. There was 2 sets of scissors. They're very sharp. Quite old too. There was a screwdriver. There was a tiny little rotary cutter. I don't even know what size this would require. I would have to look that up. There was a ton of needles. Here's some. There was, now I know this one looks really new, this measuring tape. And this one looks really old. And I know that they can stretch out and whatnot, but I also got another one of these. So now I feel set because these are really nice. Say you want to know how long you want a dress, right? Or a shirt. But with ones that are like this, they have the memory of the wrapping in it. But here you can go like this. You can put it up here and you can say, well, I want my dress or shirt to measure 19 inches because that's where it fits nice. Or I only want it to go to 15 inches. And then you know exactly how long it is. So that's really cool. Ouch. And let's see, I'm gonna put this back in the bag as I do stuff. So I tested these scissors. They cut really, really nice. this is probably used for like on her sewing machine that she had. I don't know, I'm just guessing because it was all linked together. And then there was a latch hook, an old-fashioned latch hook. I did latch hook when I was young. I have one of these myself. This is like how you mark seams, or not seams, patterns on your fabric. And then there was 2 ergonomic seam rippers. So awesome. I'm always looking for a seam ripper. I have 3. I can never find. I always put them like, I'm going to put this here safe. Then this has never been used. I need my glasses. This is knitting gauge 6-inch rule by Easy Knit, made in the USA. Never even taken off the thing. The staples are so old. Cool. Oh, that's a 2-inch measure, so you can do a little gauge swatch. And then this was probably a freebie from something, you know. People used to put stuff like this in their purse all the time. It looks like it has been used, because I don't see any of the needles. But people would put stuff like this in their purse, and then they could sew on a button or whatnot. And then, I don't know what this was for. I didn't even look at this. This was probably like a cross stitch pattern, because it has some type of fine fabric in the back with a needle and whatnot. And then it has a serger looper needle threader, never taken out of the package. This looks like the 60s or 70s because of the little flowers. And deluxe rug needle, used with all the rugs by the number patterns and punch needle hook rugs. It has instructions on the back, but this was never even used. I tried to figure out like when this was. It's made in the USA, but I'm assuming from the label here, and latch hooking and rug stuff was very popular in the late 70s, early 80s. I even got into latch hook at that time. Didn't finish my latch hook, but I did. So these are decorator's needles. I don't know what you would use. They're 4-inch, 5-inch, and 6-inch needles, all for tufting and attaching buttons to pillows and cushions. And then you're supposed to use for wax thread and seat work and edge rolls. But look at some of those, look at those needles. So I got this whole bag with this. This is why I bought that bag. I was like, heck, I don't even know what's all in here, but because they have these, I'm getting it. So that was a wonderful find. And then, so that was about 2 weeks ago. And then last week, my daughter was at a class, and I decided to stop at the same thrift store but in Eau Claire, because they have a ton of good craft stuff here and there. I did buy some pattern books, but I don't remember where I put them. I tried to buy the Leisure Art pattern books because they're so good. Ah, I should have found them. Well, next time. Because one of them, I remember when when my sister was born, and I remember looking at it like at some grandparents' house. And so, anyway, now I was there last Monday. And I was just looking around, and there was this woman looking at a bunch of knitting needles, and I don't want any straight needles because I have enough of those. And I don't really need circular needles per se, but sometimes it's good to have extra just in case. But what got me, and these were all individually labeled, was these have never been used. You can tell by this little flap right here, and this one has been used. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 7-inch DPNs. By the by, my grandma had some of these. This is I gotta get my glasses again. These are Susan Bates. My grandma had Susan Bates in like a size 4 and a size 6, maybe. These are awesome. They're aluminum. They're just grippy enough so your yarn doesn't fall off. They have nice pointy tips. They are awesome. There's another Susan Bates, and this is a Susan Bates. And there's some other, and then this is a Susan Bates. I got 5, size 5, size 3, size 8, and size 7s. Yes. They're just wonderful. Now, this is a Zephyr. They only had 4 needles in these cases, average, but they are just nice. They're 7 inches long. They're just really nice. They hold up really long. You could tell that she liked these, whoever that was. And at the time that they were sold, they were 50 cents. Susan Bates were 95 cents. And Marsha Lynn were also 95 cents. So I picked these up, and I was like, well, hot dog. I mean, the only one that was used was the Zephyr. These haven't even been used. You can tell because this part would be all like messed up or whatever, like, or ripped a little bit, or pushed in like this one. Let's see, I can't even do it. Yeah, see, like right there, it's ripped just a little bit. It was like, you gotta be kidding me. So someone down the road, long time ago, was like, oh, maybe they were on sale. Maybe because they have this yellow tag here, and they were on sale for 88 cents. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna need these at some point, and then they never used them. I plan on using them. Now, this is another Marsha Lynn, and this is a 10-inch size 6. This was $2. That was $2. The other ones were $1. This, I think, was used because of the way it's like this. But, I don't know. I don't know. They don't look very, they don't look very used to me. Look at that, 10-inch. This would be good for a hat. My 8-inch double pointed needles for my Musselburgh hat were just right for the amount of stitches I was using, but if I had any more stitches on the needles, it would have been too small. I was using 30 stitches per needle. And then I found these Knit Picks circular needles. I looked at all of them briefly. This one has never been taken out of the package. You can tell by the factory folding. These two have been used. This is Knit Picks circular 40-inch size 1 or a 2.5. And it's a stainless steel or nickel plated. They changed their product from nickel plated to stainless steel because of allergies and stuff. I haven't had any problems with that kind of thing, but some people do. And then I found size 0, and this is another 40-inch or 2mm. And this is a 32-inch size 2 or 2.75, and this is a wood needle. I debated on getting these, but I do have Knit Picks circular needles, and I don't have large lace weight needles. So I got those. I think they were $1 or $2 each. I don't remember about that one. But I also got some fabric that day, and they just had a lot of stuff. I didn't buy any yarn. At the second thrift store, they know what they have, and they price accordingly. Like, they had mohair, and they had 100% wool, and then they had this really, really pretty Barocco nylon wool. Not nylon wool, nylon yarn. And it was priced pretty spendy. And I was like, I have enough. I don't need that. So I hope everyone had fun. I really like showing some of my thrift store finds. It makes me want to go back, and at the same time, I don't need that much, but it's so awesome when you find needles like this that have never been used, and then you use them and you give them life, and you do things. And I prefer knitting in the round on DPNs, so this is right up my alley. And on that fun note, I hope everyone is doing wonderful. I hope that you're staying cool or staying warm, depending on where you are in the world. And I hope that you come back each week and see the things I make. And if you have any questions, please ask, because I would be more than happy to answer. I am teaching myself how to sew. It takes a really long time, a lot longer than knitting, and I realize that's why I don't really sew during the school year, because of the prep time. Crochet and knitting, or even embroidery, it's all right there. I can just pick it up, I can work on it. Or I'm sitting in the car waiting for 10 minutes, I can bring out my dishcloth and work on it. Or, you know, I have learned from others via YouTube that if you batch projects, then, you know, you can get further along. Like, I do have some stuff ready to be sewn up, but I then worked all weekend long, and then I'm getting back into the swing of things this week. But measuring everything out and cutting it one day, ironing it, getting it all pinned up, ready for the next day, you know, depending on how much time you have is how much time you can spend. Yeah, that's right. I did dedicate this entire past week to getting the Musselburgh hat done, because winter is right around the corner. I really wanted a nice new winter hat. I am not going to make a new one right away. I want to work on some of my other whips that I have, and I really want to get some of those done, because there are so many things I want to make. There are so many things I want to make. And I will admit that I bought some patterns off of Ravelry, and I have a bunch of patterns already in my queue to do besides. So I hope you're all doing well. Take care. Thank you for watching. Let's do that again. I hope you're all doing well. Take care. Have fun. Bye for now.